Oh no.
Oh
Oh
no!
no. Oh no, Taebyn's lost it once again.
Pinball jelly, pinball jelly, just about that. I mean, baseball bat. I can't get it right. Okay.
Or
It-
a big old jet. What are the two?
Either one, I don't know. I think the original one was baseball bat, but we'll go with the big old jet. Why not?
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn and Injured Nerves audio production. Well, hello, and a big, huge hello to all our listeners in the Podiverse, and welcome to all our new listeners. I know we picked up a few new listeners now.
Thank you, new listeners. Hi.
Well, I am one of your co-hosts, Barely Normal, and with me is...
Hi, my name is Taebyn. I'm a pup, bark, bark. Welcome, and I hope you have enjoyed listening so far, so much so that you keep listening more than just now.
Well, I hope so too, yes. So we have a lot of things to discuss today. We have a great interview with SummerCat later on.
Yes,
He's been around the fandom for a
long
long,
time.
long time. So be sure to listen to our discussion with him later today. We have gotten to the point where we start having to do follow-ups from stuff we've talked about in prior weeks.
It's true. So if trying to
So,
remember what week we are on isn't bad enough.
right, we have to talk about things we talked about last week, this week for next week.
It's just that I couldn't say it better myself. I'm not even going to try.
Last week we talked about playing cards,
Yes.
a standard poker deck, and you asked me about the Joker.
Yes.
And so apparently the Joker was added to the playing deck during the American Civil War.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, because there was a game called Euchre, which
Ye
I have no idea how it's played. They needed a trump card, not a Donald Trump card, but a trump card.
Well, if he were the one that were it, then he could be a musical and then he could trumpet. Oh,
Oh,
my wow.
anyway, so the trump card always had the highest value, but since that time, it's been adopted into other card games as a wild card or a trump card, or in some games, it's a skip card.
A skip,
So if you're like playing,
like to your loo?
right, skip to your loo. I don't know what your loo is, though. Now I have to look that up. Okay, what's your
This so
loo?
this next week we're starting it already.
Skip to my loo. What is loo?
I
What
don't
is
know
that?
if it's an uncle. I know there's the British term for the bathroom loo. I don't know what they're referring to in that song, so I will be very interested to find out.
I will too, because if it's skip to the bathroom, that's a very strange nursery rhyme.
Like, did you feed all your preschoolers too much water or something, so now they have to skip to the loo?
Skip to the loo, my darling. And then you talked about the card game Pinochle.
I did.
And you told an interesting story about how you played Pinochle with a regular deck and you were getting really high hands, which was probably a bad problem. And till you realized that you were playing it with a regular deck.
We were playing cribbage with a pinochle deck. I got it messed up,
Oh.
I think, when we talked before, but, yeah, so
Oh, okay.
so tell our listeners about how the pinochle deck works, and then I'll come back and we can revisit why you shouldn't be playing cribbage with a pinochle deck,
Okay.
or should, as the
Okay.
case may be. We'll see.
Exactly, exactly. So, because I was wondering when you said you're getting 15s in Pinochle, I was like, I don't remember 15s in
Yeah, no, I
Pinochle,
got it
but I
wrong.
got it all messed up. Okay, well, that's a very pup thing to do.
It is, it is.
So Pinochle is derived from the old card game Bezique.
Bazik?
Yeah, and it is derived from the game Binocle.
Binocle? Your binocle
Binocle,
as good as mine?
right? And it came to America from Germany, and it's a
Deutschland.
48 card. Yeah, German, which if anyway, so it's
No, I
a country, a country
it is a
elsewhere than America.
it is. They're not one and the same.
So it's a 48 card deck, and there are two of each suit, 9 through ace.
Mhm.
And in the early 1900s, the Pinochle decks were marketed to the public. That until that time, you had to make up your own deck by combining two standard poker decks and throwing away all the unneeded cards.
That sounds like a lot of work. I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore.
You don't. But although I do remember as growing up as a child, my aunts and uncles would play Pinochle at family gatherings, and they would often just take a couple of poker decks and throw away all the cards
Oh,
ace
so you're
through.
okay.
So they would give all the cards to us kids to play with, and we didn't understand why we didn't have all the cards in the deck. Anyway,
But now we know. Now we know.
so interesting facts about the game Pinochle. During World War II, it was banned in many American cities.
Really?
Yes, because it was a German game, and if you were playing it,
Oh,
you were thought to be a German sympathizer and tied to sedition.
that's really interesting. Okay.
And the knuckle part
Oh, yeah?
of the game, the knuckle, so the P knuckle.
Uh-huh.
The knuckle came from the ending of the game because allegedly you're supposed to wrap your knuckles on the table. Do you do that?
I've played Pinochle and I have never done that. Of course, I have, like, little fluffy paws, so maybe that's why, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that.
I can remember my aunts and uncles knocking on the desk or on the
Oh,
table
and then
when they
then
were playing
everyone
pinochle.
kept running to the door, and it's like, "Who keeps running away
Right,
after"
"Open the door, why are you doing that?" Yeah, so
They're not playing
anyway.
with a full deck. So, right, a pinochle deck only has 9 through ace, as you said, and if you
Mhm,
know the game cribbage, you're trying to make 15s and everything. And
mhm,
so, to go back to, for our listeners, what I was saying before was, me and my honey, when we go on vacation, we would play cribbage, not pinochle. Like I said before, we play cribbage, where you're trying to add up to
mhm.
15. And like, but we brought a pinochle deck and didn't realize it until like halfway through the game. We're like, we are both getting an amazing scores. Like we're getting 15s and stuff all over the place. And then we looked through like the deck and saw, wait a minute, there's like no twos, there's no three. Like, yeah, that's why. So now we know if you really want to play an official game of cribbage, make sure you don't play with a pinochle deck.
Right, right, yeah, there you
Unless
go.
you want
That's,
the game to go like really fast, then play with a pinochle deck.
sure, sure, yeah, why not? Don't play pinochle with a poker deck and don't play cribbage with a pinochle deck. It just goes to show
And don't
that
play goes to show that
that the more you know, the better your playing is. I guess, I don't know what I'm talking
I
about.
don't either. Oh my cow.
Okay, so moving on to other follow-ups.
Right, we have more
So,
follow-ups. We
we
I
have
gave
more
you a lot of
follow-ups.
homework last week, didn't I?
We talked about Alan Turing, the father of
Like computer science. We talked about it
modern computer
last week.
science.
So for our
Yes,
listeners that didn't hear last week, you can hear me talk about Alan Turing and the inventor of computer science before we even had computers.
and he was a famous mathematician, but did you know that he was gay?
I don't think I've heard that. I might have heard this, but I did not know that.
Actually, I went and kind of flipped through, there's a show on HBO, I think, about the Enigma machine, and it's about Alan
Ah,
Turing. It's
okay.
about all about Alan Turing. And, yeah, and he was gay, and he was convicted of being gay, during that time frame, and he
Mm.
was chemically castrated, which is an awful,
That
awful thing to do to a person.
that does not say I'm not even gonna Google that. I think I'm just gonna assume it's bad and, run away.
Yeah, it's just a terrible thing to do to a person, and I'm so glad that our nation and our people have moved forward past
Oh, very much.
saying that being gay is not a crime.
That's
I mean,
really, really good.
yeah, it's very good anyway.
And in fact, gay is okay. And shout out to who?
Oh, that would be Rain Raccoon, our chief fact checker. I'm gonna call him my CFC from now on.
He
So,
he's already got all these jobs for us, and now he's got another one.
right, yeah, he's associate editor, he's our talent director, and now he's our CFC. Anyway, that's where he goes. And then you told a joke about some friars and monks
Oh, yeah.
last week,
I did.
and
Only
it was a
I
very
no,
long
I
joke.
won't tell the joke. Yeah, I won't tell the joke, and I won't tell the punchline because if you tell the punchline, then the buildup makes no sense. So go back to, our last episode and hear the joke because we won't tell it now.
So one of the words in the joke was the word capuchin, and you said, "The capuchins, I don't know what that is." That was your quote. I
And I
quoted
s
you directly.
I still don't know what that is.
So a capuchin is a order of Franciscan monks
Order of
in the Catholic religion.
Franciscan monks in the Catholic those
Yes.
are like, there's kind of a lot of big words there.
An order is a group of religiosity folks that follow a specific teaching of a specific saint.
Friars
So,
and monks and saints, oh my.
Lions and tigers and bears. Oh
it's a
my!
very strange Wizard of Oz
It
version.
really is. Are waiting to see you, so don't be shy. I don't know.
So the joke went on to say that they were fighting monks, but which is funny because Capuchins are pacifists.
Oh, okay.
So that makes your joke even funnier.
'Cause they c yeah, okay. No, no, I'm remembering now.
Right.
There's kind of like it's like an onion. There's lots of layers to that joke apparently, and layers
Lots,
that I did not
lots,
even know existed.
and yet the joke worked on so many levels.
So many.
Um, so many levels, so many levels.
Wow.
And that concludes our follow-up.
Now we can actually get into today's show.
And of course, next week's show, we only have one follow-up so far.
Okay,
So
we'll work on that. We'll
um,
see how that goes.
we'll see how that goes. Exactly. All right, that takes us to our mailbag,
Mailbag.
which we have nothing.
My mailbag thing that I just did was a lead up to nothing.
A lead up to
But as you
nothing.
say, now we will do
I feel like you've been practicing that.
You died. I must be getting better.
So I started the new season or the final season, I believe, of Sabrina on Netflix.
Oh, and how's that
Mhm.
going? How's that shaping up?
It's pretty good. It's very dark. It's getting darker as the episodes go on.
Nice. Yeah.
Yes, we've continued to watch Star Trek Discovery, which we just watched the final episode of this season. This just the other night. I'm so sad. I shed a tear, just a wee bit, because the
We
show is over.
oh
Yes.
poop.
Um, yep. And
I
Project Blue.
can't I sorry, I found that
Yep.
just
That's like,
hilarious how I went poop, and then you waited a
yeah.
second and then went, "Yep."
Yep.
I
Yep.
love I
Yep.
don't know why I
Yep.
like
Yep.
that so much, but okay.
And then Project Blue Book, which I mentioned on our live FC show,
Mhm.
and I started the season 5 of The
The
Magicians,
Fifis and
and
say that again.
season
Oh,
5. What did I say?
I thought you said Fifis and 5 or something, I don't know.
Fifis and 5. Fifis and 5. There you
Fee,
are.
fi, fo, fum, I Fifis and 5 of an Englishman or something, I know.
I've also started chapter 3 of Disenchantment.
How is that? I haven't watched that yet.
You should watch it. Go back and start episode 1, season 1.
'Cause I see that, and I wonder about it, and it's like, that looks like who was it? Must be Matt Groening thing, 'cause, like, the animation
Yes,
style looks totally like that. I think I haven't delved in yet, 'cause I thought, "Do I wanna do a Simpsons thing? No, I'm not ready yet." But you think I should try it though, huh?
totally should. It's really kind of funny.
Okay.
So,
Maybe I'll
um,
do that for start trying that for lunch tomorrow.
a lunchtime show with Disenchantment chapter 1. I've noticed now that Netflix, instead of having seasons, call them chapters.
Oh, really? Okay, that's why you okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I had not noticed
So
that. Okay.
it's instead of season 1 or season 2, it's chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and they number their episodes sequentially. When chapter 2 comes out, the next episode is the next
The
unnumbered
next
from the last
number.
chapter.
So that when you turn
Yeah,
the page, you are doing the correct lord and slave and page, because the pages that just I don't know. I
correct. Correct, Edmundo,
I'm
as they say.
really glad you agreed with that, even though you have no idea what I'm talking about, because I don't either.
I know exactly what you're
Okay,
talking
good.
about.
Because I don't. I'll ask you
Okay, well, one of us
one of
knows
us
what you're
said
talking about.
50% is better than no percent, so
That's that's very true. Anyway, so what have you been watching, Mr. Taben?
So I have a lot of things to say. So we've been watching this new show. I'm not sure how new it is, but I think it's relatively new, called Red Oaks. Have you heard of this show?
Have not.
It's pretty good. I mean, we've only seen like 3 episodes. It's about this guy, 21-year-old or something, and he ends up being a caddy and kind of have several jobs at a country club. And it doesn't sound very exciting, but it's actually pretty good so far. It's not mind blowing yet, but it's enough to make me want to keep watching. It's entertaining. So we've been watching that. Oh, so and I don't remember what else we've been watching. I think that's maybe it. I don't.
Well, you said you had a lot to talk about.
I do. I have some other things that are media-ish in that
Oh, okay.
you know how when the new pupisodes come out on Saturdays and stuff, I like listening to how they turned out and stuff because as I'm sure you're aware, actually doing the recording and like how it actually sounds, and like you don't remember that you said some things and everything. So like doing it and listening to it are two totally different experiences. So I like listening to it after the episode comes out, see how it came out and everything, and all the wonderful stuff you do. Shout out to Bearly here and all of our staff for all they do. That wasn't all just supposed to be a build up to how wonderful you are. This, I'm just saying.
Okay.
So I actually, I'm a little behind. I just finished the Timber Puppers episode, which was a few weeks ago, but I just finished it today.
Mhm.
And so finally, here's what I want to say, why I'm putting in the media section, because I'm talking about that. So I wrote down some notable things that just for some reason just struck me from that episode. Of course, talking with Timber was amazing, but actually what I have to say was not part of his actual interview. So you said right after his interview, when we were leading into the next segment, golden dulcet tones.
Yes.
And that struck me because I don't really know what that means. So I thought I'd ask you, what does that mean, Mr. Bearly?
Dulcet tone is kind of like a soothing voice. So
Oh, like
this would
yours.
be a soothing voice, or like Cooper Tom did on
I
his.
was just thinking the
Yes,
same thing.
yes, and that is exactly what a golden dulcet tone is.
Okay. I don't remember what prompted you to say that, but there it is.
I don't remember that either, but there you are.
Also,
And here we are,
and here we
once
are,
again.
and you're very golden dulcet right now. Oh
Oh my
my
cow.
cow. There it is. He just changed that. Anyway, because last week I read Jabberwocky. During the course of my reading, you made little sounds and things. And at the time, I didn't
Yes,
know where it was from. I thought, okay, he's just being barely. But no, you got it from the Muppets when they did Jabberwocky. So I watched
yes.
it, and yes, I saw the little sounds, and it it's so much better like when you know what it is. So that was another note. Another note I have, for some reason, I really liked that there was one joke you said in the really bad jokes section last time that I really liked. Um,
Okay.
and it was well, I'll just tell it again. What do you
Mhm.
call a fur named Lee that no one wants to talk to?
Well, that's lonely.
Yes, and I really liked it for whatever reason. So enough that I wrote it down and wanted to mention it here for and I have
Okay.
3 more notes. I have a lot of notes for whatever
3 more
reason
notes
about
from media, okay.
also in that episode, you mentioned so I want to remind you that at some point, we need to have an appearance of Olaf Bunny.
Oh, that's true, we do need to have Olaf come
We need
in.
to have Olaf.
I'll see what his schedule is like
Yep.
and see if he can make an episode appearance.
Yep, yep. So you talked about him, so I want to remember that. Also, for some reason, I referenced the habitual listener, and you like that for whatever reason. So,
I still
you
like
still
it.
like
I
okay,
still
okay.
like it.
The
Yeah.
habitual listener. So, and then my final note I have about that episode is at the very, very end when we were doing our send off and something, I had one of my total laughing fits. Like I was just total. I don't even know why. And in the process, like while I'm having my little puppy laughing fit thing, I'm trying to explain what I'm laughing about, but I'm doing my laughing fit at the same time. So I'm not really conveying what I'm laughing about because I'm busy laughing.
Okay.
Anyway, and then all you could say while I'm doing that, all you could say, and you kept saying it several times, poor Taben. I mean, that's all you could say. It was just poor Taben.
It's very common, actually, poor
Poor
Taven.
Taben. And okay, so that's my things about that. And I have one more media thing.
Okay.
So I have a story about a frog. Do you want to hear a story about a frog?
I would love to hear a story about a frog.
There's this frog that wanted to get a loan from a bank. The loan officer's name was Mrs. Patty Stack. When the frog told Mrs. Stack that he wanted,
I told this
you
joke.
told this joke?
Yes.
Ah, no.
I literally told this
When
joke
did you tell
already.
this joke already? When did you tell it? I don't remember this.
Uh, yes, that's a knick-knack, Patty Stack. Give the frog a loan.
Yes. When did you
Yes.
say that? You've heard the story about the frog then?
Yes, and so have our listeners, because I also told you that my husband told the story, but he
Oh,
called it a toad.
yes. Oh, the toad thing. Yes.
Yes.
Did I forget? And then that was like last week, I think. Wow.
Last week or the week before, yes. Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my, how quickly we forget. No, because now I remember your husband, the way he told it was totally awesome.
Yes, he said, "That's a ceramic vase, paddywhack, give the toad some
And
money."
it didn't work out at all.
It doesn't work at all, no,
Um,
no, no. I'm sorry, I totally stole your thunder
no,
there.
no, I was trying to restale you stale. I was like a old cracker and I staled it. Let me find another story I can tell you.
Holding on. Here, let me give you my in a world populated by furries, one furry rises above the rest. His name is Taebyn, and he muted himself. No, no, he's
I'm
not.
back. I'm back. Um, okay. So, and on that note, so I don't know if this is a good story or not, but I found another story I'd like to tell you. In
Okay,
okay,
please tell us the story.
so
Hopefully, it's not one I've told already.
it might actually be. We'll find out in a few seconds. Years ago, there was a baker's assistant whose only job was to pour the dough mixture for making sausage rolls. Because people were identified by their professions, he was just called Richard the Pourer. One day, Richard ran out of some key ingredients, namely a secret spice he used in the batter. He called his apprentice and sent him to the store to buy more spices. When the apprentice arrived at the store, he found that he had forgotten the name of the ingredient. Oh no.
Oh,
Oh
no. Oh,
no.
no.
Hoping
Oh,
that the
no.
storekeeper might be able to figure it out, he described it to him. He said, "It's for Richard the Poor, for batter, for worst." His sausages and worst. And okay. So I don't think you've told that story yet.
I have not. For Richard the Poorer, for Batter, for Worst.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Oh, that's a wedding vow, isn't it?
Yes, it's a I like that. Yeah, it's a wedding vow.
That brings us to our guest for the afternoon or evening or morning, whenever you're listening to this.
And we don't have to guess who it is because the guess is that it is
SummerCat, as spoken about earlier in the episode.
as we act but we apparently know about my memory right now and like we actually talked about that. What? What's happening?
Okay, well, let's get to SummerCat. What do you say?
I say kitty.
All right. Well, joining us today is SummerCat. SummerCat, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for being
You're
on.
quite welcome. As opposed to being off, because then we wouldn't have anybody to talk to.
Exactly.
Can I say that I'm always on?
Oh, yes. Yes, you
Okay, there
can.
you go. So I guess we really had nothing to worry about.
That's true. That's true. Okay, so I want to jump right in because something about your bio that just totally intrigued me is the Furry Library. So let's start with that. Just tell us all about that.
I was always interested in the older furry stuff. And when I say older furry stuff, I mean the stuff that was around in the 80s and the 90s. When I was younger, I went to the Prancing Skiltaire, which is a household in Garden Grove, California, and run by the people who helped start the first furry conventions, the first furry parties, and was blown away by the stuff they had, and I always wanted it. When I was older and had a job, I started collecting, and about 2016, when I moved out to Virginia and I brought a bunch of stuff to show at a party, people were like, I've never heard of any of this stuff before. So I started putting together the project of the Furry Library, which is meant to both preserve and, well, educate people about the older furry publications. I was started going to conventions to do panels, bringing the stuff for a show and tell.
So what kind of stuff is in the library?
Most of what I'm looking to collect is stuff made by the furry fandom or influenced by the furry fandom. So you see a lot of zines, like Rarbrazzle. I have Gallery, Yarf,
Yarf,
North American Furs.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I also have a lot of comics. I have probably was one of the very few complete collections of Furlough, which is one of the longest running anthology comics in North America.
Nice, nice.
I've never even heard of it.
And I remember reading in your bio about Prancing Skiltaire, and I was like, wow, that you went to that's like Mark Marino, and I forgot what his partner's name was.
Rod Riley.
Rob Riley, that's right. And I was like, wow. And you went back at like some of the very first ones. Is that right?
Yeah, my very first furry party was actually Christmas 2003, which was the first party in a long time that the Princess Kilter had hosted. About a year later, when the then monthly meetup ended because the people who were hosting it moved away, Mark and Rod started hosting monthly gatherings of the Princess Kilter, and I attended pretty much most of them from 2004 to 2014.
Nice. That's exciting. That's like crazy, amazing furry history that you were like participated in from the beginning. So that's amazing. So did you, for the Furry Library, did you get some things from Mark and Rod, or did you just collect things that you found other places?
Primarily, it was actually stuff I collected. I didn't
Okay.
get anything from Mark and Rod in physical, at least. I got my love for the stuff from them.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Cool. That's really cool and exciting. And so you continue to run it and maintain it and add to it to this day, I assume?
Yeah, I am actually over 2,200 unique items.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's quite a few.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Are we booking a warehouse soon, or is this all in your bedroom?
No, no, no. We actually have an area set up in our living room that is actually not just the Furry Library, it's also my very overly large collection of sci-fi and fantasy novels.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it's not really a well, I guess it is a living room where you're living in the fantasy of sci-fi, I guess. I don't know.
It's only part of it.
Oh, okay.
I did some
Nice.
creative work for the shelving.
Yeah. Oh, I bet.
Okay.
Did you build your own shelving, or did you have to find like weird fun shelving from other places?
Actually, I'm using primarily IKEA shelving. So,
Oh, okay.
yes. The
So
answer
yeah,
is yes.
definitely on all accounts, definitely.
I
Yep.
also primarily have the zines and comics in comic boxes, which are standing on some metal shelving we purchased.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So
Like one of those metal racks.
yeah. So you don't have everything all on display. That would take a lot of room to have everything all on display. Definitely.
That is, well, not everything on display, but I am definitely, once I've finished yet another audit, which is never ending because I keep adding more stuff, I intend to actually do some more display work.
Okay, cool. So do you have furs over to, is it like a museum type thing and furs can come over and see the history and the relics?
Yes, well, normally I would say yes, but we're
Oh, well,
currently
true.
in. Yes, these are the dark times.
Yes. How quickly I forget.
The dark times. I'm interested to know what a furry relic is, though.
I don't know for certain, but if you had to ask me to come up with a definition, I'd say a furry relic is something from probably the 80s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s, early 90s that is from or about the furry fandom. Something key there.
Okay. All right. Being raised Catholic, a relic is usually like the piece of a bone of a saint, and so that's it's like,
Oh,
do you have bones of furries? That's what I was asking, basically.
no.
I don't have a reliquary, but I
Okay.
probably should, considering some of the stuff that's been entrusted to me.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So what furry relics in our definition, not Bearly's, but our definition, do you have from way back when?
Let's see here. I have a bunch of issues of Omaha the Cat Dancer from their first publishing
Oh,
run.
okay. Yeah. Cool.
Beyond that, just a whole bunch of stuff that was, I want to say, pretty influential, even if no one knows about it these days.
Oh,
I mean, there's always associated student bodies, of course. But if
yeah.
I recall correctly, that was influenced by Hepcats, which I have some of the original run plus the Antarctic Press rerun.
Wow. And they're all in pristine, like plastic sheets and everything?
For the most part, everything's in the sheet protectors, but quite frankly, one of the things I do with the Furry Library is that it's more of a library than a museum because these things are meant to be read.
Oh, okay. Cool.
When I take take the collection to conventions. I encourage people to pick them up, take them out of the protectors, and read them, because this is part of our culture. This is part of our history,
Yeah.
and my goal is to let people be able to access that.
Yeah. Share that. No,
Legally.
definitely. Yeah. Legal. Yeah. Even better when it's legal. Good for you.
I'm trying very hard not to get my lawyer friends pissed at me.
I think you're on the right track there. So, tell us about the. I mean, you've been a furry for a long time, and I guess I don't have to tell you that. Hey, you're a furry. I hope that's not like shocking news to you, but I have a
Gasp.
feeling you already knew that.
My husband might be very confused.
Uh,
Coyotes get that way.
I know my husband's always confused when it comes to the furry land, but
yeah. Well, good. So I'm glad we could confirm that for him. And so you've been furry for a long time. Tell us about how all that started, how your personas. Apparently, you have like a multitude of personas. So tell us about how all that came to be.
The funny thing is, I didn't stumble across the furry fandom. I was kind of recruited
Ah,
back in high school. And so I was homeschooled from 5th through 8th grade, so I pretty much stayed at home. I didn't have much interaction. So going to high school was kind of a shock for me.
I bet. Mhm.
But one of the friends I made actually was a furry, and he introduced me to the furry fandom. I went in primary through Star Fox, but then he showed me VCL, the Vixen-controlled library, for those who don't know. But he did tell me, hey, be careful, there's adult stuff on there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, boy.
Well, and VCL, yeah, that was like a lot. Like it had the full gambit of everything just thrown into one big library, right?
Yeah, it's still up, by the way.
Oh, it is. I wasn't sure if they still had it around or not. I mean, good. It hasn't been taken over by Fur Affinity and everything.
I hold the distinction of being one of the few people banned from VCL
Oh.
because my art quality sucked.
Oh, okay. No, that.
Chamar has offered repeatedly to unban me, but I love the hilarity of
So
it.
you say no, keep me banned. I That's awesome.
But persona-wise, I happened to be on a White Tiger kick right when I was introduced to the fandom, so I started off as a White Tiger. Then that was in '99. Then in about 2004, I want to say, I found this wonderful looking snow leopard tail at Anime Expo, and there was a sudden poof, and I was a snow leopard suddenly.
Just all of a sudden, out of nowhere. That's amazing that you made that transition so quickly.
Yeah, it was like smoke bomb. Why am I fluffy?
a smoky, fluffy smoke bomb. I love it.
Yep, and then about next year or half, I transitioned to a snow leopard wolf hybrid.
Okay, cool.
Influenced by Tiny DeReal's Schnolf. And then in about 2008 or so, I got shoved into an otter-shaped mold by my then roommates, and I've been an otter since.
Okay, and the rest is history.
He's been an otter ever, or otter since? Otter since? No, that doesn't make sense.
I lived happily ever otter.
There you go.
He lived and is still living happily ever otter. So you're Bengalay, and that name comes from somewhere special. Tell us about that. I'm excited here.
Well, there's this place in India. No. Well, do you remember when I was saying I started off as a White Tiger? On a White Tiger kick. I was also introduced relatively recently to Thundercats. And in the second season of Thundercats, they introduced a White Tiger Smith character called Bengali.
Bengali, yeah.
And I had no clue how to spell that when I went online.
Okay.
Okay.
In fact, my spelling to this day is so bad, I am precluded from practicing magic.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But so I went with that spelling.
Okay.
Of course. One must always go with the initial spelling.
I was really excited to I read that in your bio, of course, about the Thundercats, and that was really exciting to me. And so, what I want to do with you, if you wouldn't mind, is let's sing it right now. Let's do it. Are you ready?
I'm pretty certain that my singing is considered a war crime.
I'm pretty sure.
Have you met Taebyn? Because if you haven't, war crimes abound.
Also, the dog might get upset.
Oh well. Let's upset the dog, shall we?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, and this is assuming I remember all the words, but there's not many words, so I'm sure we can do it. 1, 2, 3. Thundercats are on the loose.
Thundercats are
loose.
loose.
Hear the magic. Hear. Okay, you're good.
Hear the magic. Hear the roar.
Hear the roar. Thundercats are loose.
Thunder,
Thunder, thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Thunder, 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 thunder.
My husband is threatening to throw something at me.
Oh,
okay. I'll do the
okay.
last one. I'll do the last part then. Thundercats, ho! That's Lionel that says that. Okay, we're done. We did it.
I am not a Thundercat ho.
Oh well. All right then. Neither am I. Although, didn't they just bring the Thundercats back?
They have done 2 reboots. There was.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of either one. I'm all about the original. I mean, come on.
I like the designs of the first one, or sorry, of the first reboot. I liked how they set it up. I didn't much care for how they took the plot from there. It just was me. I haven't looked too much at the second one, which is very much what's that show with the dude and the gems?
The Dude and the Gems.
Dude and the Gems.
The Dude and the Gem.
I have no
Gem
clue.
Show.
Oh, you mean
DuckTales?
No. I have the power. That one?
Steven Universe, that's what it is.
Oh, I'm totally off.
Barely
Okay,
was
never
thinking
mind.
He-Man, but that got you to the right place.
He-Man.
Yeah.
There you go.
Somehow I managed to get it from there.
Somehow you got there. That's good. That's good. And justifies the means.
Well, that's what furry logic is all about.
I thought furry logic is screw the biology. This is cool.
Yeah, that could be too.
There's a lot of things in the furry logic there. So what cons would you attend? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. What cons would you typically attend?
Well, before I moved from California, primarily the only conventions I would attend were Califer and Further Confusion. Califer,
okay.
I went to that first in 2006, I want to say. And I attended that up to 2015, including a couple of years where I was staff for it. Further Confusion, I first attended in 2007 and last attended in 2017.
Okay.
And was either
So you've
volunteering
been
or staffing for that, except for the first year. They got me good.
I've only been to California once, and that was 2016. So that was, it doesn't matter. But I think it was 2016 anyway. Cool. And so what would you do? Would you run panels, or would you do anything in the dealer's den, or do you just like hanging out and running around, or what would you do?
Well, at Califer, at one point I was even the lead for gaming. So I used to help run the gaming room. And I also used to, back then I used to sell stuff, just miscellaneous convention items, sketchbooks, power plugs. It didn't go so well.
Power plugs?
People would always forget to bring USB cables.
Okay.
And phone chargers.
I understand now.
Yep.
I was very, very confusey pup for a little bit there, but now it makes sense.
Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. I bring a big old bag of power cords and stuff, and on every convention, somebody's like, "Oh, I forgot my power cord," and I say, "Well, I happen to have hundreds. Let me give you one."
I see. The failure of my business is your fault.
Yeah, that's right.
It's usually just my close friends, 5 or 6 people that forget, or they just forget on purpose so they can get a new one from me every time.
Yeah.
In the
They're
end,
smart.
I wasn't really looking for profit anyway. It was more of I was looking for something to help subsidize the cost of going. So long as I made enough money to justify the extra cost of doing the business, I was relatively fine with it. And then B, I was thinking very, very poorly for a business person. I was thinking more of a providing service.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is true. There's a distinction between providing service and being a business person. That's for sure.
And then I used to sell an energy drink called Furry Fuel out over at Further Confusion. That sold relatively well. And by relatively well, I meant I sold out every single time I went with it.
Nice. And I assume you took more than 2 or 3.
Yes, I'm sure you did.
Unfortunately, in a fit of irony, that the only guy selling or has sold a furry-themed energy drink, I actually can't drink them.
Oh,
I take a medication that stimulates, and it doesn't get along. I can't even have caffeine anymore.
oh, well, that just means you got to sell more of them because you weren't tempted to drink all your own product.
Yeah, that's usually the good thing.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, is the energy drink eggnog based?
You would think so, but generally my obsession of eggnog only happens in December.
So I saw that note in the show notes for today about eggnog, and I barely knows more about this than I do, apparently, because, yeah, so tell us about eggnog. Let's go with that.
I like eggnog.
Okay, that's a good place to start. Okay.
There's not really much to it. Honestly, over the course of a month, I get a couple gallons.
Oh,
A couple gallons.
a couple gallons. Okay.
And I drink it myself.
Okay.
And my husband is always being snarkily commenting on it because he doesn't like eggnog, so it's all for me.
Like, where are you getting several gallons? Come on, you know you're the only one going to drink this, and you're like, yeah, that's the point. I'm glad you don't like it. Duh.
And he's like, 2 days later, he's like, did you drink all the eggnog? And me with my big cup, I'm like, it's only 2 cups worth.
Nice. Okay, good.
So, and the reason I bring it up is because when we were researching out, because believe it or not, we do research on our guests. But the interesting thing is, a lot of your pictures and your artwork all had you hoarding and hiding eggnog, and so there was clearly a theme going on.
There's not much to that. My husband likes to get very humorous art of us done.
Hubris.
Okay.
That's a big word.
Yes, it is.
So for our listeners, aka me, what does hubris mean?
Humorous? It's funny.
Hubris. Oh, you said humorous.
No, he
like with an M.
Yes.
yes
I
with an
thought you
M.
said hubris with the B, and I was thinking like you're hurry to bury yourself in us. I don't know. Anyway, that has nothing to do with what you actually said. So I will let you continue your story. Now that I know what you actually said.
Well, what it is my husband likes to, like I said, get silly pictures of us. Sometimes especially deflating me.
Okay.
Which is all good fun. Like sometimes I will see something, I will start laughing, and my husband got this picture of me as my persona, pointing and laughing at something so hard I'm crying. Then all of a sudden, poof, and the next panel is I am a hyena.
I mean, of course.
And whenever he hears me laughing at something, he just sends that to me on Telegram.
Okay, good. But the hyena is not drinking eggnog, I'm taking, or showering in eggnog, maybe?
No. The going back to the eggnog thing, that's something my husband just got one art of this month, and we kind of rolled with it because it's topical.
I see.
It is topical,
It is.
yes.
And it's so topical that when you do so, it gives you nicer skin and nicer fur and fluff because it's a topical medicine type thing.
I was wondering if I was going to make a cream-based joke there, but
Yes, there we go. Had to happen.
It had to happen. My name is Taebyn. I am a pup, Bark Bark, and that has nothing to do with pouring eggnog on myself. And I don't know why I would do that. Where am I going with this? I don't even know. So on that
Some
note,
places that we probably should not go.
Probably,
probably.
yes.
So on that note, then I guess, tell us about the unique things you do. So, and by the way, your WikiFur page is very outdated. I think the last entry is in 2004, 2007 or something. So tell us about all the unique things you did way back then and all the unique things you do now, because you do many things.
I've done many things. I like to say my resume for furry is very interesting. It's also quite unusually large for someone who doesn't actually do art for the most part. Like I've published my own magazine before.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
I actually got to 2 issues before the fact that I was doing a 5-person job by myself kind of caught up with me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I could see how that could happen. What was the name of your zine?
It was called Anthroview, which was Anthropomorphics Review Monthly.
Okay.
Although it ended up being quarterly, and then it ended up only being 2 issues.
Okay.
So but we see how that went.
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
Anthropview in the view of 2 episodes.
It was meant to be just a collection of articles and short stories, reviews of stuff that came out, how-tos or suggestions on stuff, and like I said, short stories.
Cool. All right.
So I've been a publisher. I've run a table at conventions. I have staffed 3 conventions because I'm currently staffed for Furthermore.
Oh.
I help run their museum of Furthermore,
That makes sense. That makes
Okay.
sense.
which they bribed me to do so I can also do the library there.
Right? Yeah, no, I'm not surprised to hear you say that.
Let's see here. I was a Fur Affinity admin for a couple of years.
Okay. I mean, you gotta do
that
that.
was
Come on.
Fun. I don't necessarily know if I recommend it. To this day, food doesn't taste right unless it's overly salty
Okay.
because I'm so used to dealing with salty furs.
Oh,
Oh.
I see what happened there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them out there. I don't know why I said like that.
Yeah, we don't want to go where you thought you were
No,
going
I
there.
don't.
You're a pup, Taebyn. You're a pup.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. On the picture that we grabbed off of your file photo on WikiFur, you are posing with a beagle, and that's a very old beagle. Is that an old picture? Do you still have that beagle? Was that even your beagle?
WikiFur. There's a picture of me on WikiFur?
Well, that's where it came. I think that's where it came from. You're wearing a pair of shorts, red shorts, a blue bandana. You're in your otter fursuit, and you're petting a beagle.
Who has been updating my page?
I don't.
I don't think
know.
it's from his WikiFur. I didn't see that on the WikiFur.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, no. That is actually a very recent picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That was taken a couple months ago when I was out walking. That is Maxine. That's actually my husband's
Oh,
dog.
okay.
Aw, she's cute.
Yes, she is cute. She can be very annoying because she always wants to join us for
Mhm.
doing stuff.
Yeah. Barely knows about the beagle.
I have a
And
beagle, so I know.
Yeah.
Yep. I know all about the beagle life. Yes.
Yes. Also, whenever I cook, she's always there in the kitchen, staring at me.
Yeah.
I recently posted on Twitter. I made some chili mac. So it was like A, the chili,
Yeah.
B, the
The
mac.
mac.
A plus B equals C,
The chili mac.
the chili mac.
Exactly.
And then I posted a photo. The very next tweet, D also wants to be part of this equation, and there's Maxine staring at me, begging for food.
Yeah, that's an important part of the equation, I think.
Yes. When you have a dog, they are always in the kitchen with you, hoping eternally that something will fall.
Eternally.
Like whenever I have food in the den,
Mhm.
she will just rush over here and sniff, 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 sniff under the table, under the desk.
How old is she?
Nice.
We don't exactly know. She's middle-aged, I want to say.
Okay.
Based on her muzz, I'm going to guess she's probably 10 or 11 years old.
Yeah, she was a rescue
Okay.
that my husband picked up when she was an adult. So and apparently she was living on the streets for a while before the rescue got her. So we actually don't quite know her early history.
Well, I'm so glad that whatever. In any case, she made it to the right home, so that's exciting.
She found her forever home. That's always sweet.
Forever
Yep.
home.
Even when she decides to start whining at us for another walk 2 hours after the last
Yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah.
My poor husband, I make him take care of that because it's his dog.
Yes. There you
I
go.
do that
There you
too.
go.
I kind of whine around it and scratch at the door because I want to go out for another walkies, even though I just went out for a little walkies about an hour ago. But I want another walkies.
Well, Taebyn, your husband and I are going to put in a dog door for you, so you don't have to ask to go out anymore.
I think so.
I was thinking, aren't you allowed to walk yourself? But I don't know if I would trust you to walk yourself.
Well,
Be
see,
responsible.
now there.
You might see a squirrel.
I see exactly that does happen. So every now and then I'm a little bit of a naughty pup and I go out and on a little walkie or a little run around without a leash sometimes, I admit it. And then there is a squirrel sometimes and then I get a little distracted pup. And I don't know if I would say havoc ensues, but a lot of distraction ensues. Anyway, that's me.
Distraction does ensue.
That's my story right there.
Right. So speaking of distractions, there's a note here that you're always looking for two things you want from artists. What's that all about?
That's actually something I've always been. It's whenever I hand someone my sketchbook, I always expect two things. Whenever I'm not paying for this, I should say, I go up to them and I say, I just want two things from you. I want you to draw something and I want you to sign it.
That's the that sounds like the requirements.
Yep, literally anything. I actually have a collection of. I have art from. Damn it! I'm blanking on the names.
That's okay. You have art from artists. That's what we are aware of. Yes.
I have art from a whole bunch of big name artists where where they are stick figures.
Oh yeah, sounds good.
I went up and I was like, "Hey, you can totally say no to this, but would you be willing to draw a stick figure?
Nice.
Just a quick stick figure
And sign it.
Yep, and sign it." So I got art from Tanny the Real. I've got art from the gods above. My brain is blanking.
Well, that's okay. It's all right.
I mean, the brain oughter do that in your case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, usually things just go swimmingly, but sometimes the words just don't flow out like they should.
Yeah, they don't just flip around all the time like they should.
Yeah, currently I'm still recovering from waking up, so.
Oh.
Well, we appreciate you getting out of bed to come talk to us on the air. We love that about you.
What time is it for you?
It's only about 2:30 in the afternoon, but I work overnights.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense.
So I got home about 7 hours ago.
Okay. And you went right to bed, and then we went and got you up. Jeez, look at us.
I know we're such bastards that way. I swear.
I set my alarm and I made certain I woke up, and even then, a little before then, Maxine started whining and started licking us.
Oh.
So she was taken out for a walk.
Oh yeah. So you never really have to worry about an alarm clock because you've got Maxine.
For the most part.
Yeah.
A lot of people have Alexa or Siri, but you have Maxine.
Exactly.
You've got the furry version of Alexa.
There you go. That's cool, actually. So what social media are you on?
Fur Affinity.
Okay.
And in terms of social media, it's honestly Fur Affinity, Twitter, and Telegram. Everything else is usually incidental or kind of shoved off in the corner.
Mhm. And how would people find you on Fur Affinity Telegram or the Twitter if they wanted to?
Twitter, I'm at Bengali. For Affinity, I am SummerCat.
And how do you spell Bengali? Because we already went over. We don't. Well, maybe we shouldn't be asking you how to spell it. But how do you think you spell it?
How do I think I spell it? Bengaley.
Nice.
Okay.
And then for Affinity is SummerCat, and then someone else took SummerCat on Telegram.
Oh.
Mhm.
I pity the poor person because he keeps getting messages meant for me.
Yeah.
This has happened a few times.
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's how you.
But I am actually Summer Otter
Summer
on
Otter.
Telegram.
Summer Otter. Okay.
So maybe that's how you.
That one wasn't taken.
Maybe that's how you inadvertently got back at them for taking your name. Is now they're getting all your. Messages.
Oh, I wouldn't wish that on him.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we've had guests on the show, and I assumed their identity. I haven't become them, but I've assumed what they were on Telegram, and have tried to send them messages, and I get messages back from the persons or the fur saying, "I don't know who you think you're sending this to, but it's not me." And
Well,
then,
I hope it wasn't anything untoward.
no. It was always things about the podcast, and then they're saying, "But your podcast is really cool, and I'm listening to it now." So I tend to kind of, do that. It's kind of cool. Yay.
Inadvertently get us listenership. So
Yeah, it's amazing.
So great. So those are great places we can find out about you when you say things, and we can find about things you're doing and artwork and all that good stuff. And I noticed, so you have a webpage that the last thing that was actually done on it was 2004. And on the webpage, there's not much there, but there is a link saying, here is my old webpage. Sorry, I find this was hilarious to me. I thought it was awesome. And so there's a link. So note, this is your 2004 webpage, and that's the last it's been updated. And there's a link to say, here's my old webpage, which might go away at some point, but it hasn't. You can still just go there, and it's I thought this was really hilarious and wonderful. So thank you for taking me through that journey inadvertently.
Yeah, that was my website in high school.
Okay.
Well, the fact that you still have it up, is it like on a MySpace or what is it?
It's on Angel Fire.
Angel Fire. Is that, wow, it's still around. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I keep being surprised whenever I go and I see, oh, hey, is my website still up? Hey, Angel Fire's still around.
Yeah. Wow.
No, it's got the old school HTML background. It's awesome.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, my HTML skills have only marginally increased since then.
All right.
I mean, to give you an idea of how old this is and how outdated, I actually have my furry code up there.
Your furry code? What is the furry code?
Okay, furry code was a thing that came up in the early 90s, in mid 90s. That was just a string of alphanumeric characters and some punctuation that was a quick line to explain the type of furry you are, what you're interested in, the type of things you do.
Really? I'll have to go check out your furry code again.
And then the problem is the website that I was using to translate it is no longer in existence.
Oh, of course not. Of course not.
It's probably saved on a floppy disk
Like
somewhere.
a 5 1/4.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah, I just pulled up the code, the furry code entry on WikiFur to double check, and yeah, it was originally released in '96.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice. Good. This is that's exciting. So, bit of furry trivia for all you furs out there listening. Look up the furry code and let's see if we can rekindle the furry code. I think that's what we should do. If we get anything out of this, no. Bearly says no. I don't know. We'll see.
No. We don't need no stinking codes. We just talk in normal tones.
Are you?
Hmm.
Let me see. I think I found something that might be able to decode it. And oh,
Oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
That's
aha. Okay,
Look out.
so
Look out.
whoa.
this worked. I can't believe it worked.
Wow.
But furrycode.com has a working decoder.
Oh wow.
Furrycode.com.
We're writing that down right now. Okay.
We
So
are.
maybe we don't
Yes.
have to
Furrycode.com.
rekindle it. It's there, but no fur knows about it. Well, not many, I assume. So maybe we can get the word out again. Get the fur out.
Get the furry word out. Yes, indeed. So now we know that you do the furry code and it's outdated, but is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about SummerCat, aka Bengali, aka Otter Cat
Thing.
stuff? Yes.
I like eating raw mushrooms
Oh, okay.
just by themselves. I would just take a thing of mushrooms, like regular white mushrooms in the grocery store. Just open it up, rinse them off, and just start
There
munching.
you go.
Okay.
I'm actually on board with that. I do not shun you for that.
Did you just say you're on board for that?
On
On
board.
board. I'm on board with that.
Okay, because I was gonna say
No, not vor. No, not vor. No.
it would have been appropriate.
I don't even know these words right now. What is even going on?
I know that mushrooms are small and Taebyn is big, but that's not the right kind of vor. Sorry.
The words you furs are coming up with right now. I think I'll have to go look this up or something.
So, SummerCat, as we bring this to an end, because we are on a limited time frame today, just the way everything is worked out, do you have any words of wisdom to impart to our listeners? I'm starting to call this your parting shot. So, give us your parting shot. Hello.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to think
Oh, okay.
of something to say, but then I just said sorry.
So did you succeed in thinking? You did succeed in thinking because you said sorry. So you must have thought to say that.
But now all I just have is what can I say except I'm furry.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
I'm one really fuzzy dude.
I think that's
one really fuzzy dude.
I think that's a very important thing.
I was riffing off of Moana.
Moana.
Is that
What can I say except I'm furry? I'm one really fuzzy dude. Hey!
hey? So
As opposed to you're welcome.
so that on that wonderful wise words of wisdom note, that actually kind of brings up to my last thing that I would like to do. Should we sing another song together?
Uh-oh. Which song?
I have no idea, but
Oh.
I don't.
I don't know that song.
I don't either. So
So in that case,
I have no idea.
what's going on with the fluff today?
Are they happy?
oh,
Or are they sad? We will never know when that is okay. Bark.
and your singing is so bad. All right, friends and neighbors and furs, thank you for tuning in. It's been wonderful to have you on the show, Summercat.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so
All
much. We'll
Okay.
talk to
Bye-bye
you again
now.
next time. Bark, bark, I wag. Go like that. We go like that.
Go like that. Yes. Well, Summercat, interesting fella. I was interested about the library. I don't know that I would put all of that stuff in my living room, but then again,
Some first gotta.
some furs gotta. I mean, we have one friend that we know. I'm gonna give a little shout out right now to Clovix about all of his little pop things, the Funko Pops.
That's right.
All over his living room.
All over. Yes, Clovix. Shout out to Clovix. We have both seen those several times, and he's got a lot of like 80s and little things and stuff all over. So that's very wonderful that he's preserving things for us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, SummerCat, he's done well, as you heard, he's done a lot of stuff. I thought that was really cool. As I said when we were talking to him, really cool about the Prancing Skeletor, and he was on like the ground floor of the beginnings of. Well, back then they were just furry parties, but at Mark and Rod's. For any further that is seen, I think it was on the fandom. Well, I know there's some furry documentary. I think the fandom they were on. And so check that out. But you can see the original, one of the original house furry
Mhm.
parties, and they've got all this history, furry history all over. And that was really cool to talk to some fur that was actually there in the beginning. So that was pretty
Yeah,
exciting.
it's to be in the beginning is kind of interesting
Yeah.
because it's it's an entirely different world now from what
Oh,
that was.
so yeah, there's so much different, but
So much
yeah,
different,
so
but
that was really cool to talk to him about
and
that.
and good for him for preserving a lot of the history. I don't think there's
Yes.
anybody else really doing that. I mean, there's people that are doing documentaries, but to actually have the physical history, the comic books, the things that have come from the beginning, that's amazing to keep, and he will be very infamous in years to come when that kind of stuff is in demand.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The original Yarf magazines and the forget her name, Otter Cat thing, and all the
Mhm.
original things. Yeah, I think you're right. There's not many furs that I know of. There's him. There's Mark and Rod, as I say, but to have that actual physical stuff to help, and the fact that he's sharing it with, takes it to cons and shares it with the furry community to let them be still a part of it and look at the stuff. That's pretty cool that he's doing that and helping us all out like that.
And now it's time for your favorite section and mine, furries in the news.
Furries, furries. In na 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 in another. I say the. Bark.
Oh my god, that's getting longer and longer every week.
Oh, okay. So we're done now. We've run out of time.
The only thing I scoured the web, usually like I do. The only thing that's come up I have seen is telegrams in the news once again.
Again? Was it in the news before?
When they went quote unquote public and they're going to start charging advertising
Oh,
fees
yeah, 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 yeah. We talked about that
for
very
the
recently.
super huge user groups. Now, since the Cheeto, who was our president for a while,
Oh,
got
because he was
banned.
orange. Yeah. Okay, got it. Got it.
Yeah, he got banned from Twitter.
Everything. Everything.
Everything, everything,
My
including
including
MySpace. Yeah,
MySpace. I was just gonna say, including MySpace.
which I didn't even know existed anymore, but he got
He
banned
got
from it.
banned from. And actually, on that note, and I'll let you actually finish talking, believe it or not, but on that note, I don't know if it was a joke or not, but he got banned from Fur Affinity.
Oh, nice.
I mean, I'm sure it's not a joke. I'm sure they just did that.
Anyway, so because Telegram hasn't banned him, there is pressure from lots of non-furs because as we discussed before, there's a lot of non-furry things going on Telegram which we were not aware of. But they are applying pressure on Google and Apple to remove Telegram from their platforms, much like Parler, because due to it being used to spread hate. And I have not seen any hate
Hmm.
spread. I don't know whether that's like, a mayonnaise
I
spread,
was
but
just
hate
gonna say
spread,
hate spread. Is
yeah,
that like really, really like mayonnaise gone bad?
yeah, it's hate spread. Good old hate spread. I hate that. Yeah, it's like
Just don't leave it out of the refrigerator for more than 2 hours, or else you're just gonna hate that spread.
hopefully they won't be taken down off of Google and Apple because what's a furry to do if they don't have Telegram?
I mean, right?
Yeah, it's very difficult if furries don't have Telegram. There'd be much howling and gnashing of teeth, I would think.
Gnashing of fangs.
Upcoming events. The newest thing now out there for 2020 is the
Right.
Ursa Major or Ursa Major or Ursa Minor?
Ursa Major.
Major. Major. Yes. Minor's a lesser award.
Yeah, if it was Ursa Minor, all it would be is just a bunch of bears getting lots of coal because they'd be Ursa Minors.
But So the Ursa Major Awards are out there. You had to get listed on their website before you could vote for. We tried, you tried, other people have tried to get us on there, and for some reason they wouldn't accept us. So
They didn't even respond to anyone.
despite us not being loved by the Ursa Major Awards, I would still suggest that you go in there, look at their stuff, and vote for furry stuff because it's very furry centric. It's all about furries
It's all free.
and
Yeah.
what makes.
So if you vote, you're voting for furry stuff.
Yes, so go in and vote and exercise your right to vote for the Ursa Major Awards.
Fur it up, fur it up.
Fur up the vote. Yes,
I remember so that when there was the election happening and everything, I remember talking about furring up the vote by like writing Taebyn's name. And I wonder if there were any Taebyn write-ins. That would have been really cool if there were.
I'm sure there was, and I suppose under the Freedom of Information Act, you could probably find out how many votes you got.
One half.
One half a vote,
One half of a vote. They forgot how to spell my name, so they just got
right?
T-A and an N, and the middle was left out. So, and they're like, "Who's this
Yep.
tan guy? And why is he in the sun so long?"
Do you have any news for the furries in the news?
I do not. Do you like how I built that up? Like, oh, he has something. There's something out there, but no, sorry.
It's like macrame. That's the art of not tying.
Macrame.
I love it when I tell a joke that Taben doesn't understand.
So is that like when you have dinner with cheese, but you say nay, not the mac, because it's macrame.
No,
No, it's not that.
macrame.
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 May I have the mac? Nay, you shall not have the mac.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
I think it's time we move along to
Oh my
math.
cow. Okay. Where do we go with this? Sweet child.
Oh, sweet child. Is there is there a musical like that? Oh, sweet child.
Well, there's a song, Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh, sweet child of mine.
Yeah.
Is that a baby that was born in a coal mine?
They were voting on the Bear Minor Awards.
Ah, yes, the Ursa Minor.
Ursa Minor. I'm messing everything. Oh my cow. First I try and tell you a joke, and then I try and like talk. It's like everything's going wrong. Okay, so speaking of math, so I have two little math thingies, and I was looking back at all the math I've done recently, and I haven't done like a logic puzzle or a paradox recently. So I thought I'd do a little logic thing and a little fun paradox thing.
Okay, I am ready. I have a pencil in hand.
You remember how my things go. So I'm going to save the paradox for the second thing because it will actually tie into something that I know is dear to your heart, Bearly. So we'll save that for last. You'll just have to wait. So first of all, and you will actually maybe need to write something down for this to figure out, but it's a little fun logic puzzle.
Okay.
And it goes like this. Inside a dark closet are 5 hats. There are 3 blue and 2 red. Knowing this, 3 very smart men go into the closet and like, okay, the 3 men go into the closet, and this isn't a joke. This is really how the thing goes, but I figured I should just stop and say, there it is. They go into the closet, the dark closet that has the 5 hats, 3 blue and 2 red. And each selects a hat in the dark room and places it upon their head. So they don't know, they can't see who's wearing what hat, they can't see what hat they picked and all that good stuff. Now they come out, no one of the 3 people can see their own hat. Of course not, it's on their head, but they can see, well, 2 of them can see the others 2. The third one cannot see any because they also are wearing very dark sunglasses or something. So the third one can't see.
The third one's blind?
The third one's blind. We'll just say the third one's blind. There you go. So it doesn't even matter if he knew which hat he was picking. Anyway, so the first one looks at the other 2 hats and says, they're trying to figure out what color their hats are. And the first one says, I cannot tell what color my hat is just by looking at the other 2. Like, okay, well, that stands to reason. But okay, the second man hears this, looks at the other 2 and says, well, I can't tell what my hat color is either. The third man, the blind one, the now ordained blind one.
Really ordained blind man, yes.
He can conduct like wedding ceremonies because he is ordained. But so he says, Well, okay, now I know what color my hat is. So the question is, what color is the blind man's hat?
Blue.
Well, I mean, you can guess, but like,
I have 50 shot. It's either blue or red, one of the two. So,
either,
you know.
of course, there are more red hats than blue, so that changes the probabilities. Probability that you have a red hat is not 50%.
No, but it's a 50% chance of me
Oh,
picking one
oh,
of the
hi,
two
hi,
colors.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
See, that's true
It's
because
like
there's only
there's only
two.
two choices.
It's red or blue. We are learning so much about probability from the Bearly right now. Let me tell you. Let's find out if you're true. Here's how the logic goes. So the
Okay.
first one sees I actually find this pretty cool, actually, how this works. The first one sees the other two, and he says he doesn't know what color hat he is from that. So that means that, remember, the second one, I mean, they're all smart. The second one is listening to this, and this is the information he gets from that. This means that the first one is not wearing a blue hat. There's only two red hats. And so if the other
Right.
two were wearing red hats, he would know that he's wearing a blue
Ah,
hat. So
blue
since he
hat.
doesn't know,
Yes.
he hasn't concluded that, which means that both the other two, there's only two possibilities. They're either both wearing blue or one's wearing blue and one's wearing red.
Because he can't tell, then one of them is wearing blue and one of them is wearing red. Logically, if he can't tell which color he is. Because if he saw
Right.
two
Yep.
blue hats, or
Yep.
he could see two blue hats and he might not know whether he's wearing red or blue because there's
Right,
three
because
blue
there's
hats.
3,
Okay.
right. So the 2 red
Okay.
hats is kind of the key there to that, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Now, so now we go to the second fur. We'll say they're a fur. And
Of course, why not? Yeah, they're fair with
why
hats.
not? The second fur looks
Yeah.
at the third one and see what color they're wearing. And
Mhm.
remember, he said he couldn't tell given this information.
Right.
Now, if the third one were wearing a red hat, then he would know that he must be wearing
Mhm.
the blue hat because he knows they're not both
Correct.
wearing the red hat. But since he says he
Right.
doesn't know, he does not get that information. So that means that the third one must be wearing a blue hat since he
I
didn't
would
know
agree
the
with that.
answer
Yeah.
there. So I mean, so you were right in the end, but I find that logic very cool and fun to think through about and figure that out.
Is that a probability problem?
That would be just more of a logic problem, I think. I mean, you can get
Logic problem.
probabilities into
Okay.
it, but I just call it a logic puzzle. When you brought up there's only two possibilities, so like 50% chance, there's the probabilities that you taught us all
Right.
about. So the paradox thing, and I'm not going to tell the obvious paradox puns because I've done that a million
Please
times
don't.
in the
We've
past.
done
We
it
have
many, many
covered
times.
that. Oh my cow. So it's a time paradox. I always find time paradox is pretty cool and interesting. So it's a time
Mhm.
paradox. So there's this time traveler, and he finds a book on the great works, the General Theory of Relativity by Albert Einstein. So he finds this and learns about the Einstein's theory of relativity. Then he
Okay.
travels back in time before anyone knew about this, travels back in time and teaches the theory of relativity to Einstein.
Hmm.
Einstein claims it as his own theory, does that, and then
Well, that's kind of a
publish.
crappy thing to do, but
I
okay.
know that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking, but he does. It's the 50s or whatever. So of course he writes it all down and publishes it, and then decades later, lots of copies of the General Theory of Relativity, and then the time traveler finds the book in a bookstore and reads the theory of relativity and learns it, goes back and teaches Einstein, repeat. So the question is,
Okay.
who invented the theory of relativity?
George.
You are 110% correct. But you know, it's really cool because you think, did Einstein do it? Well, no, because he learned it from the time traveler. Okay, well, the time traveler did it.
Mhm.
Well, no, because he learned it from Einstein. So it's pretty cool,
Mhm.
and it relates to, it's like a chicken and egg paradox thing, like which came first type thing. And if you go back and listen to some of the other episodes where I talk about like the who shaved the barber paradox and autological homological paradox and stuff like that, it's pretty cool.
Mhm.
And so this is actually a thing in physics called a causal loop, where you have this time paradox thing where something happens and then it happens earlier before it actually happened, and you get this like loop thing and everything. And so you're
Hmm.
of course wondering, how does this apply to something I know and is dear to my heart, Taben? Well, I'll tell you, in Doctor Who, these
Oh, Doctor Who.
see, I told you. In Doctor Who, this comes up a lot. In the episodes, there's an
Mhm,
episode called Blink where this
mhm,
comes up. There's a two-parter. The first one of the two parts is Under the Lake, then the other is Before the Flood. This is a
mhm,
big thing that comes up. So, yeah, I figured you had probably seen examples of this in Doctor Who. So that's why I bring that up.
mhm,
But
mhm.
also, this was in, Terminator, the Terminator movies. Skynet that came up
Yep,
because let me see if I can remember because Skynet invented, all the cyborgs and everything. But the only reason
right.
they could invent that was from remains of a cyborg that they found.
Right, there's a famous line from Doctor Who about Doctor Who? No, Doctor Who.
Even
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect, but actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Timey-wimey stuff.
it really is.
Yeah, it really is.
So there's actually a lot of examples of these things that are actually called bootstrap paradoxes. So one is I found very interesting. They're calling it the most quote unquote extreme example of a bootstrap paradox involving a person anyway. Can be found in his name is Robert A. Heinlein, Heinlein. He has a short story in 1959 called All You Zombies. And this apparently actually inspired the movie from 2014, Predestination. And in this
Okay,
story, the main character, which is an intersex male that was born female, is tricked
okay.
into going back in time and impregnating. How do you say that word? Impregnating his
Impregnating.
that word, his
Yeah,
pre-gender assigned female self, who subsequently gives birth to him slash herself. And so, as a result, he becomes a self-created entity who is both his own mother and father.
okay.
So these fun paradoxes can do things like that. There is my math for the week.
There you go, there you go, and, Robert Heinlein is a very well-known, very well-written sci-fi author. Alright, well, that takes us into our all-time favorite, one of the most favorite segments on our podcast, the really bad
Jokes.
jokes.
Oh,
And as you have pointed out on several occasions, our entire podcast is a really bad joke.
it really
But
is. So
but
I'm
there's
not a border collie anymore. I am a pointer
a pointer
because
as
I
you pointed
pointed that
out.
out. Oh my cow!
Mhm. Take a drink. Okay, so are you using your really bad
I
joke
am.
book
I
or are
am.
you using your new book? Okay.
I'm not using my new book. I'm using my new book has good stuff. This book is called Funny Jokes and Foxy Riddles. And if you watch the FC VirtualCon live podcast that we recorded, you can see I held it up and you can see a picture of this book. It looks very much from this, actually looks like it's from the 70s, but it's actually from 1968, called Funny Jokes and Foxy Riddles. And this has horror, like sometimes literally we don't even understand what they're saying.
Sooner or later, you're gonna have to replace that book because you're getting close to the end.
Actually, I'm only halfway through.
Okay.
Today I'll be reading on page 40 and there's 80 pages of this. Can you believe
Well,
there's
there we
80
go.
pages? So we're okay.
80 pages of really
And,
bad jokes.
and these
Okay.
are jokes that I have not read ahead of time. So we're all hearing them for the first time ourselves, which means that if it's really, really bad, it's not my fault. Blame the book. It's not like I picked it out. It's like,
Yes.
oh, this is really, really bad. So why did I just talk like that? I don't know, but there it is.
I don't know. There you go.
So
What are
now
you
we know.
doing? I don't know
Well, you
what you're
know, I
doing
don't know what you do.
anymore.
I don't
Uh,
know. I don't
so give us
know.
a joke.
I'm
Give us a
gonna
joke,
give
yeah.
you a joke, sweetie, and it's gonna be great. Why or not? What am I doing? Ask me what I'm talking about.
Taben, what are you talking about?
I have no idea, and thanks for asking.
All right,
So,
well, read us your first joke.
speaking of Hinderfruit, what does a ghost on guard duty say when he hears a noise?
I have no clue.
Halt! Who ghost there?
Wow.
Yeah, so this is an example of what oh
Of
my cow.
which is why we call this section really bad jokes.
This is why
Um,
was that even a joke? I don't even think it classifies.
I don't know. So, do you know what kind of tea is the hardest to swallow?
The kind with grape nuts in it.
No, reality.
So, wow, why are we on like a Halloween thing here, apparently? Because I
I
want
don't
to
know.
know, barely, I want to know, what do ghosts chew?
Bubble gum? What? I don't know. What do they chew?
Booble gum.
Bubble gum. Oh, right then. That's a nice thing for the joke to drink then. Bubble gum. Yes, right.
We are whisked away to
To
England, or where is that?
bloody England here we are. Yeah.
We
So
are,
do you know
yes.
what you call a dog who swallows your owner's jewelry?
I do not know the answer to that question. What's the answer?
Well, we called it a diamond in the rough.
Bark, bark.
Bark.
Oh, that reminds me. This is from my own puppy brain. Where do you get dragon milk from?
I don't know.
A short-legged cow.
Okay, that was good. I like
I'm
that.
proud to say that was not from my really bad joke book. That was just from me. My name is Taebyn. I'm a pup. Let's just get that out there right now.
Bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
Yes.
But if we're going to go back to my book now, name a collective noun. What is
group.
this
I don't-
even? Oh my lord.
Okay, what's a
Okay.
collective noun?
Garbage truck.
Oh, it collects garbage. It's a noun. It's a garbage
Just like
truck.
what
It's a
this
collective
joke
noun.
is. It garbage.
Garbage. Yeah. Hey, do you know what the fashion policeman said to his sweater?
No, I have not heard. What does fashion policeman say to his sweater?
Do you know why I pulled you over?
Oh, that's pretty good actually. That I'm okay with that. Yeah.
You like that one?
I will let that one go through. That's akin to the lonely thing. This one has two people involved. I will be playing the part of the man, and
Okay.
I will then also be playing the part of I am Diane.
Okay. I don't know why it sounds like that, but okay.
He just ate some liver. I don't know. The man says to the Indian, I beg your pardon, but what is your name? The Indian says, Ranang Dare. The man says, is that your son? The Indian says, yes. I forgot what the Indian sounds like. He's,
Apparently like that, yeah.
he's going
Sounds like a
on
train. Yeah.
He's not running deer anymore. He's running train.
He's
So
running
he,
train, yeah.
since he's a running train, he's the conductor. Ha!
Uh-huh.
That was okay.
Huh.
So maybe I'll actually. That was a joke within a joke. I love this. The man says, "What's his name?" And the Indian says, 99 cents. And the man says, 99 cents? The Indian says,
Okay.
yes, he's not a buck yet. Because
Oh.
running deer was the Indian.
Oh, running deer. He's not a buck yet. He's 99 cents.
So I'm just gonna stop there.
Okay, I'm going to tell you one more. Do you know why the baby strawberry was crying?
I do not know why was the baby strawberry crying.
Because his mom and dad were in a jam.
Oh,
Well, you know what that does? That brings us to the end of our podcast. And
wow,
I'm sure that everyone is they're so excited that we're at the end finally.
they're thinking like, wow, how did I? It's one of those things like when you're watching a car crash or something, it's like, I really don't want to, but I can't look away. That's what our podcast.
So it's another fun-filled podcast. It's hard to believe that we sit down and the next thing we know, we're at the end. Us like, oh my God, I can't believe we spent an hour or an hour and a half or an hour and 40 minutes or almost 2 hours in some cases doing our podcast. It's insane.
We are crazy.
And to everyone who's listening, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so
And
much. Really. I mean, really.
If you didn't listen, then the two of us would just be locked up in a rubber room because, you know.
We're just talking to each other. And I'm making funny
Each other.
sounds like this, and they're not funny, they're just really stupid. And Bearly's listening
yep.
to me, and he's all excited about it, so we should really be locked up.
That's right. If we're the only two listening, we have a problem. But anyway.
But, you know, on that note, though, if we're the only two listening, no one else knows, which means we're not going to get locked up. So it works out.
That's true. There you go.
But if
you are
if
correct.
Furs are listening, then they do know, and then we're probably going to be locked up anyway.
And I'm wearing a blue hat.
And you're It actually took me a second, but now I understand. Yeah.
Before I turn it over to you to say your goodbyes, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about a signature line about saying goodbye. And I have come up with my signature line that I'm going to sign off with every
You
week.
got it. It's official now. I can't wait to hear it. What is it?
So goodbye until next week. And remember, stay furry.
I love it and approve. Wait.
So Taebyn, say your goodbyes.
On the other paw, this pup doesn't have a standard thing. Well, the standard thing is to take about 5 hours to say goodbye. So let me start by saying, Every Fur, thank you so much if you're listening to this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope there was actually some good information in the pupisode, in our pupisodes. So I hope you learned stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. We love, we hug. We can't wait to get to a con and hug again, of course. You know, just listening to this is just so much support just right there. And we really, really, really appreciate it. And we really love knowing that we could help you out by entertaining, because that's what we want to do. Well, we have fun doing this too. But that's an extra high-level perk, is to entertain too. Wow. A high-level perk, much like Habitual Listener, is a high-level perk. Okay, so now, anyway, thank you so much. We wag, we hug, we fluff, and we'll talk to you next time. Bark, bark.
Bearly Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guest, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by me, Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by myself and our associate editors Rain Raccoon and Canes. This week's interview was edited by Canes. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by our music associate Reg Day with Damian Tanuki. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com and the YouTube Free Use Library. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter or on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.